The hosts feel it would be a little unkind to present this podcast without just a word of friendly warning. We are about to unfold the story of Frankenstein, a man of science who sought to create a man after his own image without reckoning upon God. It is one of the strangest tales ever told. It deals with the two great mysteries of creation, life and death. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now's your chance to. Well, we've warned you.
Hello and welcome to the Frankencast. I'm the mad scientist Anthony Bowman. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm joined as always by...
the magical Christmas music box that is Eric Velazquez. My pronouns are also he, him.
All right, yeah, so I guess we should say happy holidays to whatever holidays you celebrate. This commercial is definitely more Christmas tinged, but I think it's got a sweet message, and whatever holiday you celebrate, I think there's something to get out of it.
Yeah. It definitely has that human spirit in it, right?
Yeah. It is a commercial, so it is selling you an Apple product.
Yeah. It's what, an iPhone, what was it at the time? iPhone 7, iPhone 8?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And you could tell the story without the iPhone. It's definitely just there to sell the iPhone. But it's still a sweet little story. We start with, you got Frankenstein sitting at a little desk, and he's like cranking a little music box and recording it into the voice recorder app on his phone. Then you get this scene of him just kind of sitting at a chair, drinking tea and sort of singing to himself. And of
course we get the flash of Mary Shelley's portrait in the corner.
Yeah, I saw that too, and I was like, I know Eric's going to catch that because you're definitely more of the detail-oriented one than me. But
don't say that. I hyper focus on the weirdest things. I am definitely not detail-oriented. I wish I was.
And it's not the most famous picture of Mary Shelley. There's one that you see all the time, but it's kind of the second most. I Googled it because I was like, let me make sure. I'm almost positive that's her, and it's a painting by someone named Samuel Stump. But yeah, it's he's just got it framed on the wall as if it's his mom or something, which is really sweet.
It kind of is, right?
Yeah. And I like the tea drinking thing, kind of, harkens back, in the Bride when he's drinking with the hermit, it's more of ale and stuff. But there's a lot of pictures from around the early, the Karloff era Frankenstein movies where Karloff is on set in full Frankenstein makeup drinking tea. And I wonder if it was a little nod to that, because it's this nice little, very English, teacup. And I thought that was a nice little touch.
Yeah. It feels like it has to be, right?
Yeah. So then he goes outside and he's got a little mailbox and he gets this little package out. And then we just see him coming down into the village. And, as we're used to seeing, villagers are kind of oh, the monster, there's just tension or whatever. And then he opens the little box that he got in the mail, and it's
unscrews his bolts. Yeah, it's two Christmas lights. Yeah, so he unscrews his bolts, screws in the Christmas lights.
And it's got one red one and one green one. And then he it's so cute. It's just adorable.
Yeah. I like the character that Brad Garrett brings to this version of Frankenstein. It's he's kind of he's a lovable goofball, right?
Yeah,
that's kind of.
It makes me want to see him in that role, in something a little bit more substantial, because he does bring a really kind of sweet energy. It's the closest to Karloff of anything else we've seen so far. There's a childlike quality to it, but there's an earnestness, where he's. He's really trying here, and so he starts kind of singing, he presses play on his phone and it starts playing the music box recording, and he sings, there's no place like home for the holidays over it. But he's kind of shaky, it's the creature.
Yeah, he's nervous.
Yeah, he's nervous, and he was never great at speaking, and he's probably not spoken in years. He's just been up in his little home by himself.
Well, not only that, but he now has an entire village staring him down.
Yeah.
So I mean that'll give anyone a little bit of a jitters in front of the crowd so hostile, you know?
Yeah. And then we get like this great moment that sort of like feels like a metaphorical reversal of, you know, the girl of Maria in the first movie, where like this little girl steps forward and like, you know, kind of sees that he's nervous and joins in, like kind of sings the next line, and kind of encourages him to keep going, you know. And he does kind of start to like shakily start to sing again, but then
the whole town,
everybody just joins in and like sings the song.
That actually gave me goosebumps.
It's so like I remember the first time I saw it, like it was like during Christmas, and I was like over at my wife's family's house, and like the TV was on for like, you know, I don't know, some Christmas movie or something, and that commercial came on, and I just like, it stopped me in my tracks. Like it's just so beautiful. And then, you know, the little message, like the camera kind of goes out and you get like the town with like the big Christmas tree and the lights, and it just says, "Open your heart to everyone."
Yep. That's really a great message.
Yeah. And so, you know, I mean, they're selling you an iPhone, but like they don't really hit you over the head with that. It's just like, you know, now this is the season. If there's ever a moment where you need to like, you know, be open and like welcoming, and, you know, as we've seen from all these movies, all this stuff with like, the creature just wants people to accept him for who he is, and the villagers just can't do it for any number of reasons. And
whether he makes a mistake or they misconstrue his intention, or
yeah, exactly. So it like him being kind of like this hermit up in his house, like felt sort of like an echo of like when he, you know, lived with the hermit in the Bride of Frankenstein, but he's by himself, you know, and like as we've been talking about, like, the story of Frankenstein is a story of like someone searching for a friend, and like here he finally gets it. And you know, it's not a Universal movie where like it has to be taken away from him. There's no big like turn where like buildings burn and people chase and torches. It's just
happy endings all around.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, and like, so, you know, we don't get that often. We are talking about monster movies, so we don't expect that there's going to be happy endings often. But
right,
you know, it's nice for the monster to get a win at least just this once.
Yeah, especially at the holiday time.
It's a nice little Christmas miracle.
Yeah, Christmas miracle. There you go. That's his present, right?
Yeah. So yeah, it's you know, if you haven't watched it yet, it's a little 2-minute thing. I'll probably like drop a link to it in the show notes. So you can find it if you don't want to Google it. But yeah, it's definitely worth 2 minutes of your time. Whether you like Apple products or not, you'll find something to very much enjoy in this.
Yeah, and I think right now we definitely need that in this time and age. It's good to know that, or good to think that even if you don't agree with someone, or you haven't thought to come across the aisle and take a look at somebody, that maybe this year do that. Even if you're just saying happy holidays.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, and like it says, it's just open your heart. Like, you know, there may be people that doesn't work out for, you know, like you don't have to like welcome someone in permanently, but you should open your heart. Find something out about them, and, you know, they might open theirs back. And, you know,
exactly.
Like that's what happens in this, you know. The monster, you know, takes a risk. He goes to the town. He knows that the villagers are afraid of him. You know, we don't know exactly, like, in story canon what has happened to him in the past, but, you know, he definitely doesn't have a good history with villagers, but he reached out, and this time it paid off, and that's a lovely sentiment for this time.
Exactly.
So that's all we got for this week. We just wanted to pop in and say happy holidays and give you a little something to listen to, maybe on your, you know, drive to a family get together or whatever. And so next week we're going to kind of continue with something a little like outside of what we normally do. We're not going to be covering a movie next week. We're just going to kind of talk about why we're so drawn to Frankenstein. Why, like, we as a culture, but like why specifically me and Eric, like what we like about Frankenstein, what keeps us coming back to these movies. So we'll just kind of have a little personal chat, and, you know, then that'll take us through, you know, that'll be New Year's Eve, and then we'll we'll see what happens in the new year.
Yeah, there might be something interesting happening in that next year, huh?
Possibly.
All right. Well, we don't want to hit ourselves over the head with it, but aside from that, happy holidays and to be continued.
Looks like you survived another episode. The Frankencast is a production of FCR Media. It's hosted by Anthony Bowman and Eric Velazquez. Follow us on Twitter at The Frankencast, or send us a letter at thefrankencast@gmail.com. Our cover art is by Amanda Keller. You can find her at Keller Illustrations on Instagram. Our theme music is by Vivek Abhishek. Thanks for listening.
Let's start that over.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
This is for the highlight reel, baby.